You know what? That was a nice waker-up fish. Let me tell you though, because I'm fishing early in the year and the water's pretty cold, I decided to go with the long fluorocarbon leader. So this is actually 30-pound Suffix fluoro, and I'm using one of those Rapala snaps, which really allows the lure to work. Actually, I think it's a VMC snap. And then of course, one of my favorite and one of the best all-round pike lures is the Husky Jerk. And this is the number 14. Now, if you look at the first and second hook, you can see that the hooks are actually opened. This one's got 2 open hooks. So these Husky Jerks have really nice, light wire, very sharp hooks. But the only thing is if the fish rolls in the line, they can open the hooks up. So I'm going to make sure that they are the right configuration. So that's something that's very important almost every time you hook a fish. Especially a fish like a pike that rolls in the line, make sure that the hooks aren't open and bend them back so they've got that classic bend. One of my favorite strategies to get early season pike is to find shallow bays or marina basins where I know the water is going to warm up a little bit quicker than the main lake. When I find them, they're usually in shallow water, and I use a variety of techniques to get them to strike. If they're active, I'll run spinners and I'll run lures like spinner baits that move pretty quickly horizontally along the water. But if they're not active, I'll use a twitching presentation or even soft plastics to get them to strike. You know, when you're looking for pike early in the season, it can be a little bit challenging because pike love weeds. And the problem is that when the water temperature's cold, like in the 40s or even 50 Fahrenheit, there's not a lot of weed growth. So what I've done today is I've actually gone into a big marina basin and I'm working the shorelines and even in between the docks that have no boats yet, because the water's a little bit warmer. It's anywhere from 52 to 54 degrees. And you can see on the bottom that even in about 7-8 feet, we're just starting to get a little bit of sparse weed growth. So this is one of the key things. In about 2 weeks, this will be right to the top and almost solid weeds. It'll be unfishable. So one of the best places to locate these roaming pike is right where this drops off, where the weeds end. So literally, it's a very deep weed line in shallow water, if that makes sense. So if I'm fishing in about 10 feet of water, I want to fish the spot where these weeds just end, because the pike will cruise up and down, and then they'll go onto the weeds to feed and back off and cruise all along that edge. Nice little, they call them hammer handles when they're smaller. Look at this, a nice little northern. And man, does that chartreuse grub ever look bright inside of his mouth. Look at, nice little northern. Now he's starting to scrap once I got him in the net. Look at these gorgeous colors. I know he's flopping around, but look at, he's got golds and greens in here. Beautiful fish. Watch him right himself and take off. Look at, gorgeous. This is interesting. This is a friend of mine. His name is Scott Martin. His lure company is called MFS Baits. And he does a combination of spinners, and he does plastic grubs and spoons and jigging lures for salt water. But what I've done here, I've taken one of his spinners, and the way they come, they look like this in the package. So you can see that they come rigged with a single hook that's in there. Hopefully you can see the hook. And it's kind of nice because they have a split ring, and you can actually change it. So what I did, I took one of his jig heads. This is a 1/4 ounce chartreuse, and I added it onto there. The nice thing about doing this is that you can change the weight of the spinner. So because I'm only fishing in about 5 to 7 feet of water, I've got a 1/4 ounce jig head. If I was fishing deeper and I wanted that spinner to go down, all I would do is switch that jig head to a 1/3 ounce or even a 1/2 ounce, or change the type of twister that I'm using, or a twin tail or a split tail beetle, and that kind of thing. So you know, spinners work really well for northern pike, especially later on in the year. But even this early in the year when the water's cold in the 50s, using a spinner and a plastic grub combination and just slow rolling it close to the bottom can work really well.